Hi, everybody. I just returned from Seattle from the Past Data Community Summit, which took place at exactly the same time in downtown Seattle as the Microsoft Ignite conference. So Microsoft Fabric was released this week, so it's now generally available, and that was announced in the keynote at Microsoft Ignite. During the 3 days at the Past Data Community Summit, I saw several demonstrations, and some of the key takeaways that I had were, one, Fabric is based on Lakehouse technology, which means that data is stored in Parquet file format with Spark Delta storage on top of that. And that means that it's cross-compatible with other tools like Azure Databricks, for example. There's a lot more integration and flexibility. There are several different ways that you can transform your data. If you're using Azure Databricks today, you continue to use Azure Databricks, and all things in Fabric are compatible with that storage format, and you can actually work with either tool, whichever one is more cost-effective and makes more sense for you to use in the future. Databricks has been around a while. It's a very mature technology. It's also a little more expensive to use than a lot of the components of Fabric. So if you're still using Databricks to do transformations and manage storage in your compute, that's great. You can continue to do that, but you can also make use of some of the components of Fabric that may be less expensive and might make more sense in the future as you continue to compare a lot of these different capabilities. If you're using Azure Data Factory or Power BI data flows, you can continue to do that in the future. Data flows has taken on a brand new face where you can now save the output of essentially a Power Query query to the data lake format in Parquet files. So we've got some great capabilities there. And Fabric also includes Jupyter notebooks. And so you can code in Python or in PySpark and use the notebook paradigm for a hands-on, more advanced coding experience. So we've got a lot of great capabilities there. The big question is which one to use. You can coordinate all of these things. Another big takeaway that I had was that CI/CD and version control is now possible with Power BI, regardless of the scale of your project. Even in small data analyst type projects, self-service projects, we can now easily version those things using Power BI Desktop integrated with Git. There are a few different ways to do that, but the most significant now is that we can store Power BI projects using the PBIP format, which means that it actually stores individual files and it's completely Git compatible. So you can use a free Git subscription and then just use Power BI Desktop to store your files on your desktop in a Git repo where you check them in and they're versioned. And even if something happens on your local machine, you have that version history in your online Git repo. And then you can actually graduate up to a more advanced implementation of Git by using the Git integration with Power BI workspaces, or what we will call Fabric workspaces in the future. So that's kind of the medium level. Again, not real hard to do, and you can dip your toe in the water with version control using Git, and then you can also graduate to the more advanced implementation of integration with Azure DevOps. And so we now have the ability with Power BI to fully integrate with Git and do full spectrum version control with coordinated DevOps, with build pipelines, different versions, merges, splitting, etc., with truly IT managed projects. So I'll follow up with some demonstrations and also point you to some resources about these exciting new capabilities.